John's sneakers crunched against the gravel path leading to Lila's apartment. He had walked this path 1,000 times. Yet today, it felt different. His mind raced with all the things he wanted to say, rehearsing them over and over like lines from a play. He wanted to surprise her with tickets to the new planetarium exhibit, but also, he wanted to tell her something personal, something that had been bothering him for weeks. The soft hum of the city around him felt unusually loud. Hover cars zipped past on magnetic rails above, their neon lights reflecting in puddles on the sidewalk. People moved with their daily routines. But John felt like he existed in a bubble, separate from the busy, futuristic world. He reached the familiar blue door and took a deep breath, pressing the doorbell. The chime echoed in the hallway. Footsteps approached. His heart skipped a beat. The door swung open, but it wasn't Lila who appeared. It was her mother. Maren stood there, tall and poised, her expression calm but serious. She had always been kind when John had met her before, smiling and offering tea. But today, something was different. Her eyes held a quiet intensity that made John pause. "We need to talk," she said. John blinked. His rehearsed words evaporated. Okay," he said, trying to sound casual. "Is Leela around?" Maren stepped aside and gestured for him to enter. Her apartment smelled faintly of herbs and ozone, a strange combination that made John feel both curious and slightly nervous. The walls were lined with shelves, not just with books, but with small, strange devices that blinked softly. Some looked like miniature telescopes, others like glowing crystals suspended in metal cages. It was unlike anything John had seen in a normal home. "Have a seat," Maren said, guiding him toward a small, cushioned chair near a low table. John noticed a large screen on one wall, showing rotating holographic images of stars, planets, and some shapes he couldn't immediately identify. Thanks," John said, lowering himself into the chair. He tried to hide his nervousness. Maren paused, choosing her words carefully. "John, I'm going to be honest. What I have to tell you may surprise you. But please, listen carefully." John nodded, feeling a mixture of curiosity and apprehension. "You know humans have only recently joined the Interstellar Alliance, right?" she began. "We've been traveling between planets, learning from other species, trying to understand the galaxy. Most humans think we're just visitors here, but that's not entirely true." John frowned slightly. "What do you mean?" Maren smiled faintly, as if expecting the question. "You are more than most humans realize, and not just in a metaphorical way. I've been studying certain humans, discreetly, for years. Your genetics, your adaptability, your way of thinking. You're different." John felt a strange mix of excitement and confusion. "Different how?" "Humans have a unique ability that even advanced species can't fully match," Maren explained. "We're resilient, creative, and intuitive in ways that machines and even highly evolved aliens struggle with. And some humans like you carry a rare variation that makes them extremely adaptable to new environments, even alien worlds." John's jaw dropped. "Me? I'm special?" he asked, unsure if he was hearing her correctly. "Yes," Maren said simply. "Special is one way to put it. It means you have the potential to do things others cannot. It doesn't make you better than anyone else, but it does mean you can help bridge gaps, solve problems, and understand species in ways they might never achieve on their own." John leaned back in his chair, trying to process what he had just heard. His life had felt ordinary, sometimes even mundane. He was just a college student who loved stargazing, reading, and spending time with Lila. And now, he might have a unique role in the galaxy? "Why are you telling me this?" he asked after a moment. "Why now?" Maren's eyes softened. "Because your potential is important, John. And because you are about to face situations where this potential could make a real difference, I want you to understand who you are before that happens. John swallowed hard. I don't even know what to say. You don't have to say anything right now, Marin reassured him. Just listen and try to understand. I promise. No one is going to hurt you. This is about knowledge, growth, and opportunity. Nothing else. John nodded slowly, feeling a strange mix of fear and excitement. He had always been fascinated by science fiction, imagining humans exploring distant planets, meeting aliens, and solving mysteries. But now, he realized, he was not just imagining it. He could actually be part of it. Marin gestured toward the holographic screen. I want to show you something. It will help you understand what I mean. The screen shifted, displaying a map of a distant star system. Planets rotated slowly, some with lush green surfaces, others with shimmering ice. Small figures moved across the planet's surfaces, alien beings of various shapes and colors. These are species we've encountered, Marin said. Most advanced civilizations are highly specialized. They are brilliant in some areas, but limited in others. Humans, you are versatile, curious, empathetic. That combination is rare. It allows you to adapt, communicate, and solve problems in ways even highly evolved species struggle with. John leaned closer, fascinated. So, humans can be like mediators? He asked. Yes, Marin said, nodding. Exactly. But not just mediators. Innovators, explorers, connectors. You can see possibilities that others might miss. You can adapt when rules change. That's why I wanted to talk to you today. John felt a thrill of possibility coursing through him. His ordinary life suddenly seemed like a doorway to something extraordinary. But at the same time, he couldn't help feeling a little overwhelmed. This is a lot to take in, he admitted. I know, Marin said gently. But you don't need to act on it yet. Think of this as the first step. You are special, John. That's all you need to know for now. The rest will come with time. Just then, the apartment door opened again. Lila stepped in, smiling warmly at John. Hey, she said, sensing his tension. I see you've met my mom's serious face. John chuckled nervously. Marin smiled faintly. John, I promise, I'm not going to scare you. I just want you to understand your potential. Lila can explain more when the time is right. John looked at Lila, her eyes full of warmth and trust. For the first time, he realized that whatever this journey might be, he wouldn't face it alone. And in that moment, he felt something shift inside him. A quiet excitement, a spark of possibility, and a sense that ordinary life had just opened up into something extraordinary. The apartment, with its humming devices and glowing screens, no longer felt intimidating. Instead, it felt like the threshold of adventure. John knew that stepping through this doorway meant entering a world where humans could shine not through force, but through creativity, intelligence, and courage. As Marin began to explain some of the devices and research she had been conducting, John listened carefully, absorbing every word. The universe suddenly felt larger, more wondrous, and more inviting than he had ever imagined. And though he didn't yet know what challenges lay ahead, he felt ready, because for the first time, John understood something he had never truly believed. Humans were capable of more than anyone alien or human had realized. And somehow, he was going to find out just how far that potential could go. The next morning, John woke with a strange mix of excitement and nerves. The previous evening replayed in his mind like a vivid dream. Lila's warm smile, her mother's serious gaze, and the glowing devices that filled the apartment with soft hums. He had spent hours thinking about what Marin had said, how humans like him could be different, special, adaptable, and able to connect with alien species in ways no one else could. He had always thought of himself as ordinary, a student with average grades, a love for books, and a habit of staring at the stars for hours. But now, he felt like the universe had just handed him a secret door, one he had never even noticed before. By mid-morning, he found himself walking back to Lila's apartment. His steps were lighter this time, though his heart still thumped nervously. When he arrived, the door opened almost immediately, and Lila's bright face appeared. "John, you're early," she said, stepping aside. "Come in. Mom's in the lab." John followed her inside, taking careful notice of the humming devices and glowing holograms. Lila led him to a small, circular room at the back of the apartment. The walls were lined with screens showing star maps, alien landscapes, and flowing data streams that looked almost alive. In the center of the room, Marin stood, examining a small, floating hologram that rotated slowly in midair. "Good morning," Marin said, turning to him with a gentle smile. "I hope you slept well. Today, I want to show you something more concrete. Something that explains why humans are different." John's curiosity surged. He had expected talk, but this sounded like an actual demonstration. He followed her closer as she gestured toward a console. The hologram expanded into a full, three-dimensional model of a distant planet. Tiny, glowing figures moved across its surface. "These are alien species we have been studying," Marin explained. "They are advanced, intelligent, but also very specialized. Each species is brilliant in one or two areas, but limited in others. Humans, well, you have a rare combination of skills. You can adapt, learn, and empathize in ways they cannot." John leaned in closer, squinting at the holographic figures. Marin nodded and tapped a few buttons. The hologram shifted to show a scenario. Two alien species were struggling to communicate. One had intricate knowledge of star patterns, but no understanding of emotions. The other could feel and sense emotions, but lacked logic in its decisions. The tiny figures moved back and forth, unable to reach agreement. "Watch," Marin said. "Now, imagine a human in their place." A new figure appeared in the hologram, a humanoid, indistinct, but clearly human. It interacted with both species, listening carefully, understanding both perspectives, and suggesting solutions that neither species had considered. Slowly, the conflict resolved. The two species nodded and moved in harmony. John's jaw dropped. I could do that?" Marin smiled. "You could. And many humans could in different ways. It's not magic or luck. It's your natural ability to combine logic, creativity, and empathy. This is why humans are unique in the galaxy." He sank into a chair, overwhelmed. "All my life, I thought I was ordinary, just regular. And now, I could actually make a difference?" "You already are," Marin said softly. "Humans have always made a difference, even when other species didn't notice. You see connections, possibilities, and solutions that others cannot. That's why your potential is so valuable, and why I wanted to talk to you yesterday." Lila stepped closer, smiling. "Mom's right. I've seen it too, John. You notice things others miss. You think in ways that make people feel understood. It's..." John blushed. "I never thought of it like that." Marin tapped another button on the console, and the hologram shifted to a new scene, a simulation of a planet with harsh terrain. Giant, floating creatures moved above treacherous cliffs, while smaller, intelligent beings struggled to navigate the landscape. "Here's another example," Marin said. "Other species would struggle to adapt to this environment. Humans, on the other hand, watch." The human figure in the simulation analyzed the terrain, observed the floating creatures, and guided the smaller beings using a mix of reasoning, empathy, and quick improvisation. Slowly but surely, they crossed the terrain safely. John leaned closer, fascinated. So, humans aren't strong or super fast, but we think differently? Exactly, Marin said. You adapt, innovate, and solve problems in ways that matter. That's the kind of strength humans have. And some humans, like you, have an even stronger ability to do this instinctively. John's mind raced. Some humans, like me? What does that mean? Marin's expression grew thoughtful. It means your genes, your experiences, your personality combine in a way that allows you to adapt to new challenges quickly. Not every human has this at the same level, but you do. You can understand alien languages faster, notice patterns that others miss, and even anticipate how other species might react. John felt both amazed and a little nervous. Wow, I never knew humans could be that special. They are, Marin said simply, but most humans don't realize it yet. They think of themselves as small, ordinary, and limited, and that's why this knowledge is important. Humans need to understand their potential before they can take the next step in the galaxy. Lila reached out and took his hand. You're not just ordinary to me, John. You notice things, you care, and you find solutions when I feel stuck. Mom's right, humans are special, and so are you. John smiled, feeling a warmth he hadn't expected. He realized that this wasn't just about him, it was about humanity. Humans had always been underestimated by more advanced species, and yet they had qualities that even the most brilliant alien minds could not replicate. Marin continued, guiding John through the holographic simulations. They explored alien cities, strange ecosystems, and complex social structures. Each simulation presented a challenge, and each time, John instinctively found solutions. Sometimes he observed patterns, sometimes he noticed emotional cues, and sometimes he simply trusted his intuition. Every time, the simulation responded to his decisions, showing how humans could make a difference in ways no other species could. Hours passed like minutes. John was so absorbed that he barely noticed the sunlight fading outside the window. Lila brought him a cup of tea, and they sat together, sharing quiet smiles. Finally, Marin deactivated the simulation. John, what you've seen today is just the beginning. Humans are capable of incredible things, but potential alone is not enough. You need understanding, experience, and guidance. That's why I wanted to start this journey with you. John leaned back in his chair, feeling a mixture of awe and determination. I want to learn. I want to understand how humans can help, how I can help. Marin smiled. Good. That's exactly the right attitude. Curiosity and willingness to learn are some of the most human traits and the most valuable. Lila squeezed his hand. We'll figure it out together. Humans may not be the strongest or fastest species, but we're creative, adaptable, and brave. And that counts for a lot in the galaxy. John nodded, feeling a newfound confidence. For the first time, he truly believed that humans were special, not in ways of force or power, but in ways of mind, heart, and intuition. And he felt ready to discover just how far that potential could take him. As he left Leela's apartment that evening, the city lights glowing softly around him, John looked up at the stars. The universe felt vast, alive, and full of possibilities. He thought of all the simulations, all the alien worlds, and all the ways humans could make a difference. And for the first time in his life, he didn't feel small or ordinary. He felt like a bridge to the galaxy, a spark of potential waiting to shine. Because John had discovered a truth that would guide him through everything to come. Humans were more than they realized, and he was about to see just how special they could be. The next morning, John found himself standing once again in front of Lila's apartment. The city outside was alive with movement, hover cars weaving through magnetic lanes, delivery drones gliding silently overhead, and people of all shapes and species bustling about. But today, John barely noticed them. His mind was focused on one thing: the invitation from Marin to explore his human potential. Lila opened the door before he could even ring the bell. "Ready?" she asked, her eyes sparkling with excitement. John nodded, trying to calm the nervous flutter in his chest. "As ready as I'll ever be," he said. Marin greeted him with her usual calm smile. "Good. Today, we're going to take the simulations a step further. You'll face scenarios designed to test not only your logic, but your empathy, adaptability, and creativity." John's stomach tightened. "Sounds intense," he said. "It will be," Marin replied. "But don't worry. Nothing can hurt you. These simulations are completely safe. Think of them as learning experiences, ways for you to understand your strengths and your potential." She led him to the circular room at the back of the apartment where the holographic console awaited. The room hummed with soft energy as the screens flickered to life. A bright, blue holographic interface expanded before him, showing a new alien world, a lush jungle planet filled with enormous trees, strange glowing plants, and creatures moving in patterns that seemed random at first glance. "This is your first test," Marin explained. "Your goal is to explore this planet and assist the inhabitants in resolving challenges they face. Observe, analyze, and find solutions. You may encounter unexpected events, and that is intentional. Adaptability is key." John swallowed and stepped closer to the console. The hologram enveloped him in soft light, and for a moment, he felt as if he had been transported to another world entirely. He could see the alien creatures moving through the jungle, some struggling to find food, others navigating difficult terrain. He took a deep breath. "Okay, here goes." The first challenge appeared almost immediately. A group of small, four-legged creatures were trying to cross a river, but the current was too strong for them. They paused on the banks, uncertain and frightened. John studied them, noticing patterns in their behavior. They were intelligent, but cautious. They tried to work together, but without guidance, they kept getting swept back by the current. "All right," he muttered to himself. "What would humans do?" He remembered something Marin had said. Humans excel at observation, empathy, and problem-solving. He scanned the surroundings and noticed a series of floating plants that formed natural bridges across the water. Carefully, he guided the creatures toward the plants, encouraging them to step from one to another. Slowly, carefully, they crossed the river safely. A soft chime sounded. The simulation acknowledged his success. Observation, analysis, and empathy applied effectively. Marin's voice said in the hologram. John smiled faintly, feeling a rush of satisfaction. He was beginning to understand this was not just a game. The simulation responded to his thinking, showing how his human traits could make a real difference, even in a completely alien environment. The next challenge appeared. A group of larger creatures, bird-like in shape but with glowing wings, were trying to communicate with one another, but their signals were misunderstood. They were not hostile, just frustrated. John studied their movements and sounds, trying to find a pattern. Slowly, he noticed subtle signs in their behavior gestures that repeated, sequences of chirps that seemed to convey emotion. Using his intuition and understanding of social cues, he replicated a simple signal that combined their gestures with clear, rhythmic sounds. To his surprise, the creatures responded immediately. They relaxed, aligned their movements, and began to interact harmoniously. The simulation chimed again, confirming his success. John's confidence grew with every challenge. He was discovering something extraordinary. Humans were not the strongest or fastest species, but they could think, feel, and adapt in ways no other species could. The combination of observation, intuition, and creativity allowed him to solve problems that seemed impossible. For the next few hours, John explored one scenario after another. Each simulation presented new difficulties: a city struggling with resource allocation, a forest threatened by environmental imbalance, and even a puzzle where two alien species could not agree on trade routes. Each time, John applied a mix of logic, empathy, and imagination to find solutions. By the time he paused, the holographic planet faded, leaving him standing in the softly lit room. His arms tingled slightly, as if he had been moving them through the alien world. Though he had not left the floor, Lila approached, her eyes wide. "You did amazing," she said. "I watched the last part. You solved problems in ways I never expected. It's really human of you." John laughed softly, feeling a mixture of pride and disbelief. "I never thought being human could be this useful." Marin stepped forward. "That's exactly the point. Humans may not have the physical advantages of some species, but you excel in ways that are far more important. Flexibility, creativity, empathy. Those are the abilities that will make humans essential in the galaxy." John nodded slowly, absorbing her words. "So, it's not about being the strongest. It's about thinking differently, noticing things others miss, and finding solutions that matter." "Exactly," Marin said. "And some humans, like you, have an even greater potential. You can anticipate problems, communicate across cultures, and innovate under pressure. These are the skills that will allow humans to contribute in ways no one else can." Lila smiled at him. "I've always known humans were special. You just proved it in a way I never imagined." John felt a rush of excitement. He realized he was part of something larger, something beyond ordinary life. The galaxy was vast, full of species with incredible abilities, but humans had a unique strength that could make a real difference. Marin continued the lesson by introducing a more complex simulation. This time, it involved multiple species interacting across a large, virtual planet. Some species were skilled in technology, others in communication, and some in environmental adaptation. Each had strengths and weaknesses. John was challenged to find a way for all of them to cooperate, ensuring the planet's resources were used wisely and that no species was left behind. It was overwhelming at first: the data, the movements, the communication signals, but John remembered what Marin had taught him. Observe, empathize, adapt. He began by mapping the needs of each species. Then he suggested strategies that allowed them to share resources, communicate more effectively, and understand each other's perspectives. Slowly, the planet's simulation began to stabilize. Species that had once been in conflict now cooperated, and the environment began to thrive. John leaned back, exhausted but exhilarated. He had just witnessed the power of human problem-solving in action. The simulation ended with a soft chime and a display. "Human potential. Successfully demonstrated." Marin clapped lightly. "Remarkable. You are beginning to see the full extent of what humans can achieve. This is only the start, John. There are challenges in the galaxy far beyond these simulations. But today, you've learned that being human is not a limitation, it's a gift." John smiled, feeling a sense of pride he had never known before. I want to learn more. I want to understand how humans can make a difference, not just in simulations, but in the real galaxy." Marin's eyes twinkled. "Good. That curiosity, that willingness to learn, is one of the most important human traits. Never lose it. It will guide you through everything to come." Lila took his hand again. "We'll face it together, John. Humans may be underestimated, but we are adaptable, creative, and capable of incredible things. You're just the beginning." John nodded, feeling a sense of purpose unlike anything he had felt before. The simulations had shown him his potential, but he knew that the real adventure was only beginning. Humans were more than ordinary. They were connectors, innovators, problem solvers, and communicators, and he was going to see just how far that potential could take him. As he left Lila's apartment that evening, the city lights twinkling around him, John felt a quiet excitement coursing through him. The universe was vast, full of challenges and mysteries, and humans, ordinary humans like him, had the power to shape it in meaningful ways. For the first time in his life, John felt truly confident in his identity, his abilities, and his place in the galaxy. And he knew that whatever the future held, he would face it with courage, creativity, and the unique human strength that no alien species could replicate. Because John had learned an important truth: being human was not just enough, it was extraordinary. The morning sun filtered through the apartment windows, casting soft golden light across the room. John could hardly sleep the night before. His mind buzzed with images from the simulations, ideas of alien worlds, and the realization that humans like him could have a real impact on the galaxy. He got dressed quickly and headed to Lila's apartment. As he approached, he felt a strange mix of nervousness and excitement. Today, he wasn't just going to explore simulations. Today, he would take the first step toward understanding what humans could really achieve in the universe. Lila greeted him at the door, her smile bright and reassuring. "Ready for today?" she asked. John nodded. "I think so. More than ever." Maren was already in the circular lab room, waiting by the holographic console. She looked at him warmly. "Good. Today, you will interact with representatives of other species. Not simulations. Real-time communication. They've been expecting you." John's eyes widened. "Real aliens?" "Yes," Maren said. "You are ready. Remember, your strength is in observation, empathy, and creativity. You will help them solve challenges, but you will also learn from them. This is the first real step in understanding the role humans can play in the galaxy." John swallowed. He felt a thrill of anticipation. It was one thing to navigate simulations, but entirely different to communicate with real beings from other planets. Maren activated the console. A holographic interface expanded before them, displaying a large, circular network of nodes, each representing a different species. The images flickered and shifted as alien representatives appeared, some tall and slender, with translucent skin that glowed softly. Others, small and round, with multiple eyes and flexible limbs. Each one looked curious, but also cautious. "Hello, John," one of the aliens said in a voice that seemed to resonate inside his mind. "We have been told humans are unique. We wish to see if this is true." John smiled, feeling slightly nervous but also confident. "I hope I can help," he said. "And I'm excited to learn from you too." The first challenge appeared almost immediately. One of the species was struggling to coordinate a network of floating energy platforms, which were vital for their planet's energy supply. The aliens had sophisticated technology, but were having trouble optimizing it. John observed carefully. He noticed patterns that the aliens hadn't seen. By suggesting slight adjustments and explaining them clearly, he helped them reorganize the platforms. Slowly, the system stabilized, and the aliens' glowing eyes brightened in relief and joy. "You understood our difficulties quickly," one said. "Your approach is unusual, but effective." John smiled. "I just try to see the problem from all sides. That's something humans do well." Arjun. The next challenge involved communication. Two alien species had conflicting ideas about sharing resources on a shared planet. Neither side was hostile, but their cultural differences made collaboration difficult. John paused, thinking. He remembered what Maren had taught him: empathy and observation were key. He listened carefully to each species, noticing subtle gestures, tone, and emotions. He suggested compromises that respected both cultures, allowing them to share resources fairly. To his surprise, both sides accepted his suggestions. Slowly, they began to work together, exchanging ideas and coordinating plans. John felt a surge of pride. He wasn't just solving problems, he was helping the galaxy understand itself a little better. Lila watched quietly from the side, amazed. "I can't believe how well you're doing," she whispered. "You're inspiring." John laughed softly. "It feels amazing to finally see humans in action like this. We're not the strongest, but we can make a difference." Marin stepped forward. "Exactly. Humans are connectors, observers, innovators. And today, you are showing them what that means." The challenges continued throughout the day. John coordinated planetary ecosystems, solved logistical problems, and even helped mediate misunderstandings between species with very different social norms. Each time, he relied on the combination of creativity, empathy, and reasoning that humans excelled at. By late afternoon, the session ended. The aliens all bowed slightly, nodding in respect and gratitude. "Your species is remarkable," one said. "We did not expect this. Humans may be the key to collaboration across the galaxy." John felt a warm glow of pride. He realized something important. Humans were underestimated, not because they lacked strength or intelligence, but because their abilities were subtle and flexible. They could adapt, connect, and innovate in ways others could not. And that was their true power. Marin smiled. "You see, John, humans are not ordinary. You may not be the strongest, the fastest, or the most technologically advanced, but your potential is unmatched in its versatility, creativity, and empathy. That is why humans are essential in the galaxy." John nodded slowly, absorbing the weight of her words. "I understand. We're not the same as anyone else, but that doesn't mean we're less. It means we're different, and that difference can make a huge impact." Lila hugged him tightly. "I always knew humans had something special, but seeing it today, wow." John laughed, feeling a mixture of joy and awe. "I never imagined being human could feel like this. Like a superpower, but not in a normal way." Marin chuckled softly. "Exactly. It is a superpower, subtle, powerful, and uniquely human. And it's only just beginning. The galaxy will need humans like you to guide, inspire, and connect species in ways no one else can." As the sun set outside, painting the city with soft orange light, John looked around at Lila and Marin, at the glowing consoles and the images of alien worlds, and felt a deep sense of purpose. For the first time in his life, he truly believed in the potential of humanity. He thought about all the challenges ahead: unknown planets, new species, complex problems. And he knew he was ready not because he was extraordinary in the traditional sense, but because he was human, capable of observation, empathy, and creativity beyond measure. That night, as he left Lila's apartment and walked home under the stars, he felt a sense of connection to the universe he had never known before. Every star, every distant world, every living being in the galaxy suddenly seemed full of possibilities, and humans were part of that tapestry, not as bystanders, but as essential contributors. John realized that the ordinary life he had once known, studying, walking through the city, spending time with friends, was only the beginning. Humans were meant for something greater. Exploring, learning, connecting, and shaping the galaxy with ingenuity, understanding, and care. He glanced at Lila's apartment one last time, her figure visible in the softly glowing room, and smiled. Whatever the future held, he knew one thing: Humans were not just part of the galaxy, they were capable of inspiring it. And as he walked toward home, John felt a quiet but powerful certainty. The adventure was only beginning, and humans, ordinary, adaptable, extraordinary humans, were ready to step into the stars.